colony on Orion 9 had once been a place of hope. Humans had built it as a frontier outpost, a symbol that Earth's reach stretched far beyond the solar system. But now, as the twin suns dipped behind jagged mountains, the colony looked more like a battlefield than a home. Smoke rose from the ruined supply depots, and the horizon was dotted with alien dreadnoughts that moved with silent precision. Commander Lyra Dane stood on the observation deck of the main command center, her eyes fixed on the approaching ships. The Zyrex Collective had come. They were a force unlike anything the colonists had faced. Massive, dark, and covered in alien armor plating, their dreadnoughts cast long shadows across the colony. These were not raiders. These were conquerors. "This is it," Lyra said, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her chest. Around her, officers and engineers worked frantically, coordinating the colony's defense. "We hold this line no matter what." Her words gave some courage to the colonists, but Lyra knew hope was fragile. Communications with Earth had been jammed for days. Every attempt to reach the planet had failed. She feared the humans on Earth might not even know the colony was under attack. "Commander, energy shields at 30%, reported Sergeant Miko, a grizzled soldier who had served on Orion 9 since its founding. His voice was tense. "If the Zyrex fire their plasma arrays, the outer perimeter won't last 5 minutes." Lyra clenched her fists. "Then we make every second count. Activate the defense drones. Target the largest vessels first." She paused, watching the alien ships glide forward like predators. "We show them humans don't give up." In the lower sectors, young engineer Kale raced through the corridors, carrying a portable toolbox. The sounds of alarms and distant explosions rattled the colony. His job was to repair the energy conduits that powered the shield generators. Sparks flew from broken panels, and the corridors smelled of burnt circuitry. "Kale," a voice called. It was Lieutenant Sira, another engineer. "We need the conduit operational now. Shields are dropping too fast." Kale ducked under a fallen beam and worked quickly. His hands moved over wires and circuits with practiced skill. "I'm almost there," he shouted. Sparks flew as he connected the last conduit. A faint hum ran through the walls, signaling that the shield system was stabilizing. Outside, the Zyrex dreadnoughts unleashed their first attack. Beams of green energy cut through the sky, striking the colony's outer walls. Explosions rocked the ground, sending debris flying. Colonists screamed and ducked for cover, while soldiers returned fire with their plasma rifles. Lyra watched the battle unfold, her heart pounding. She knew the colony's weapons were primitive compared to the Zyrex. The aliens' technology was far superior, faster and more precise. But humans had one thing the Zyrex did not: creativity and courage. "Commander," Miko called. "The outer defense wall is breached on Sector 7. Lyra's jaw tightened. "Evacuate the civilians to the inner shelters. Squad Alpha, hold the breach as long as you can. Squad Beta, prepare to fire the ion disruptors." The colonists moved like clockwork, trained for emergencies, yet unprepared for war of this scale. Children and elderly were guided into reinforced shelters while soldiers braced at the walls. Their eyes wide with fear and determination, Kale ran back to the command center, carrying a small, old device. It was a prototype distress beacon, one that Earth engineers had designed decades ago but never used. Kale had found it in a dusty storage room, forgotten by time. "Commander Dane," Kale said, breathless, "this might be our only chance. I can activate the beacon. It will send a signal directly to Earth, even through Zyrex interference." Lyra studied the device. It was small and crude compared to the colony's high-tech systems, but it might be enough. "Do it, Kale. Fast. Every second counts." Kale placed the beacon on a secure console and connected it to the colony's remaining power supply. Sparks flew, and the device hummed to life. A faint light pulsed as it began transmitting, sending a message across light years. Meanwhile, in the sky, Zyrex ships continued their relentless assault. Massive plasma bolts struck the colony, tearing through walls and energy shields. The colony's drones swarmed to intercept the attacks, exploding in clouds of metal and fire. It was a brutal, chaotic battle. In the command center, Lyra's eyes were fixed on the sensors. "Are there any signs Earth received the signal?" she asked. Kale shook his head. "Too soon. The signal just went out." Lyra clenched her fists. "Then we fight. Every human here fights. We do not surrender." As night fell, the aliens intensified their attack. Their dreadnoughts fired from multiple angles, attempting to overwhelm the colony's defenses. The ground shook with the force of their weapons. Dust filled the air. In the chaos, a small group of colonists tried to repair a collapsed energy tower. Among them was a young medic named Shella, who tended to wounded soldiers and civilians alike. She moved with calm efficiency, despite the screams and explosions. "Stay focused," she said to a group of frightened volunteers. "We are still alive, and we can keep fighting. Remember, we are human. We survive." Hours passed. The colony's defenses were battered, and the Xyrics advanced steadily. Lyra knew that the situation was desperate. Every human here was giving their all. But the alien superiority was evident. Just when despair threatened to take hold, sensors picked up something unexpected. A faint blip appeared on the long-range scanners. Distant, but moving fast. It was far beyond anything the colonists had seen before. "What is that?" Kale asked, his voice filled with hope and disbelief. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "I don't know, but it's moving toward us." "Could it?" She didn't finish the sentence, but her team understood. It could be reinforcements. The Xyrics, unaware of the distant signal, continued their assault. They did not know that humans were never as alone as they seemed. "Prepare for the next wave," Lyra ordered. "Hold the line. Protect the colony. And whatever comes, we fight." Humanity does not give up, even against impossible odds. The night stretched on, filled with explosions, shouts, and the constant hum of energy shields. Yet, amid the chaos, a small spark of hope had appeared. A distant fleet, perhaps from Earth, was on its way. The colonists, battered and exhausted, found a renewed strength in the command center. Lyra turned to Kale. "If this fleet reaches us, humanity will prove once again that we never abandon our own." Kale nodded. "Then we hold. We survive. And we show the Xyrics what humans are made of." Outside, the alien dreadnoughts pressed their attack, but the humans refused to break. Every blast that struck the walls was met with courage, every soldier and colonist standing firm, and far across the stars, something was moving, a force that would change the fate of the colony forever. The first faint signals of massive ships grew stronger on the scanners. The colony had been on the edge of despair, but now the tiniest hope glimmered. Humans had fought against impossible odds before, and they would do it again. Commander Dane raised her voice over the intercom. "All units, stand ready. Earth is coming, and we will survive." The colonists' hearts lifted. For the first time that night, they dared to believe. They were not alone. Somewhere in the darkness of space, help was coming. And when it arrived, the Xyrics would learn that humans were a force to be reckoned with. The distant blip on the colony's sensors grew larger with each passing minute. It was unlike any ship or formation the colonists had ever seen. Massive shapes moved in perfect formation, their silhouettes cutting across the stars. These were no ordinary vessels. They were Earth's secret fleet, the Starfire Armada, long kept hidden from the rest of the galaxy. Commander Lyra Dane could hardly believe her eyes. "Kale, is that? Could it be?" she whispered. Kale's hands trembled slightly as he scanned the readings. "It's yes, Commander. Earth ships. Real ones. And they are enormous." The colony erupted with cautious excitement. Soldiers peeked through observation windows. Civilians gathered in reinforced shelters. And medics paused their work to glance at the approaching shadows. From a distance, the Xyrics dreadnoughts continued their relentless advance. Unaware that a new force was entering the battlefield, they still believed the humans were isolated, desperate, and doomed. They were about to learn their mistake. The fleet reveals its power light, flecked off the massive hulls as the Starfire Armada moved into the Orion sector. Each ship was a fortress, bristling with weapons, shield generators, and advanced navigation systems. Fighters launched from their carriers, weaving between the larger ships with incredible speed. Every movement was precise, coordinated, and calculated. Admiral Kalen Rise, commander of the fleet, stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn. His eyes scanned the holographic battlefield map, noting the position of every Xyrix vessel. "All units," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "Today the galaxy will see what humans can do when they refuse to surrender. Protect the colony. Fight smart. Fight together. And show the Xyrix what it means to challenge Earth." The fleet's AI systems hummed in perfect harmony, predicting enemy movements and calculating attack strategies. The human ships were outnumbered, but every captain, pilot, and crew member knew that skill, teamwork, and courage would make the difference. The first strike as the fleet approached, Xyrix scouts detected the massive formation. Their sensors flickered with surprise. "Commander Thrix," an officer reported the humans. "They have brought reinforcements. They are unlike anything we expected." Thrix, a towering figure with dark metallic armor, narrowed his eyes. "Then they will die, as all humans do," he said. "Prepare the plasma arrays. Destroy them before they reach the colony." The first shots were fired, green beams slicing through space. But Earth's fleet was ready. The flagship's shields absorbed the initial strikes while fighter squadrons executed swift counterattacks. Smaller human vessels darted around Xyrix ships, targeting weak points with pinpoint accuracy. On the colony, Lyra and Kao watched as the massive human fleet unleashed its power. "It's incredible," Lyra breathed. "They're fighting with precision we couldn't even imagine." Kale nodded. "They know our lives depend on this. Every move they make protects us." Explosions erupted in the distance as human firepower tore through the Xyrix vanguard. Energy blasts hit dreadnoughts with incredible force, sending fragments drifting through space. The colonists, once on the verge of despair, felt hope surge in their hearts. Tactical genius Admiral Rise had not come unprepared. He had studied the Xyrix tactics extensively. He knew that brute force alone would not win the day. The fleet moved in complex formations using asteroids and nebulae as cover, striking from unexpected angles. Fighter squads led daring maneuvers, drawing Xyrix ships into traps. Ion disruptors disabled enemy shields temporarily, allowing heavy cruisers to deliver devastating attacks. Every crew member knew their role, and every human acted with focus and courage. Lyra, monitoring the battle from the colony, realized how smart the humans were. "They're not just strong," she said. "They're thinking 3 steps ahead. Every strike, every movement, it's perfect." Kale's eyes widened as he realized something else. "Commander, they're not just fighting. They're protecting us. Every action is keeping the Xyrix away from the colony." The Xyrix struggled. General Thrix's confidence began to waver. The human fleet was not just powerful, it was unpredictable. Their movements defied logic, and their precision was unmatched. "Recalculate attack pattern?" Thrix roared. "They cannot be this coordinated." But it was too late. Human fighters struck at weak points, capital ships unleashed volleys of plasma, and boarding drones disabled key systems on several Xyrix vessels. The aliens' formation faltered as chaos spread across their fleet, even as some dreadnoughts fired indiscriminately. Human ships adapted instantly, dodging, blocking, and countering with perfect timing. The humans' courage and coordination were overwhelming. Back at the colony, soldiers and civilians watched in awe. They're winning," whispered a young recruit. "I thought we were done for. But they're winning." Lyra clenched her fists, tears welling in her eyes. "Not just winning," she said. "They are showing what humanity can do. We are never alone. We are never abandoned." A close call despite the overwhelming power of the Earth fleet. The battle was far from over. One Xyrix dreadnought broke through the outer defenses of the colony, its plasma weapons firing relentlessly. "Commander Dane," Sergeant Miko shouted, "they're hitting Sector 9. If that tower falls, the inner shelters will be exposed." Lyra didn't hesitate. "Kale, guide the remaining drones. Target the dreadnought's weak spots. Hold it long enough for the fleet to arrive directly." Kale nodded, and activated the colony's defensive drones. They swarmed the dreadnought, distracting its weapons and creating openings. At that moment, a group of human fighters swooped down from the Starfire armada. Striking the dreadnought's vulnerable points, a massive explosion shook the ground, and the alien ship drifted into space, crippled. The colonists cheered, their morale soaring higher than ever. Hope rekindled us. The battle continued. The human skill and bravery became undeniable. Even Xyrix soldiers who had fought countless worlds began to hesitate, unsure how to respond to this strange, relentless force. Lyra looked at the young colonists who had fought alongside soldiers to repair defenses and tend to the wounded. "Look at them," she said. "They are alive because of humans from Earth. They are proof we can survive anything." Kale smiled, wiping sweat from his brow. "We always thought help would never come, but it did, and it's magnificent." Meanwhile, Admiral Rise coordinated the fleet flawlessly. He used the terrain of space itself, aneroid fields, energy storms, and gravity wells, to give the humans every advantage. Every Xyrix attack was met with a counter, and slowly but surely, the alien fleet was pushed back. The tide begins to turn by the time the second wave of Xyrix ships approached. The humans were ready. Every defensive measure was in place, every crew member prepared. The Earth fleet was not just fighting, they were teaching the Xyrix a lesson in human ingenuity and courage. Lyra watched as fighters darted between massive capital ships, striking with precision that seemed impossible. "It's like they are dancing," she said softly. "Every move, every strike." "Perfect," Kale laughed quietly, a sound full of relief. "It's hope. They fight like this because they care, because they know our lives are at stake." The alien general, sensing his advantage slipping, attempted a desperate maneuver. "Concentrate fire. Destroy their flagship. They cannot survive this." But Admiral Rise anticipated the move. With a calculated volley, the human fleet struck the Xyrix from multiple angles. Their flagship, Eternal Dawn, fired its supercharged cannons, creating a wave of energy that crippled several enemy vessels. The Xyrix formation broke apart, chaos spreading through their ranks, a glimmer of victory the colony's defenders, exhausted and battered, watched as the aliens retreated from the immediate area. The Earth fleet hovered protectively over Orion 9, its presence a shield and a promise. Lyra allowed herself a deep breath. "We survived," she said. "They survived because humans came." Kale looked at the distant fleet, its massive ships glowing against the darkness of space. This is more than help," he said. "This is a reminder. Humans do not surrender. We fight. We protect. We survive." The battle was not over, but the tide had turned. The colonists felt hope rekindle in their hearts. For the first time in days, fear was replaced with determination. Earth's fleet had arrived, and with it, the promise of survival. In the command center, Lyra Dane sent a silent message of gratitude into the void. Somewhere, far away on Earth, brave humans had chosen to come, to risk everything. And they had arrived. The Xyrix might still fight, but humanity's courage and strength had been revealed. The galaxy would remember this night not for the destruction, but for the arrival of the Earth fleet, the fiercest force the aliens had ever faced. The stars over Orion 9 burned with the glow of battle. The Xyrix fleet, though battered, refused to retreat entirely. Their dreadnoughts regrouped at the edges of the sector, preparing for one final assault. From the command center of the colony, Commander Lyra Dane watched the distant flashes of weapons fire, her mind racing with plans and calculations. "We can't let them breach the inner defenses," she said firmly. Around her, soldiers, engineers, and medics moved with renewed energy, inspired by the arrival of Earth's fleet. "Every human here must hold their position. We fight together." Kale, beside her, checked the colony's systems. "Commander, the Earth fleet is preparing a full strike. They've moved into the asteroid belt nearby. It looks like they're planning something big." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Good. We need to give them time, and we need to make sure the Xyrix don't destroy anything critical before that strike lands." the strategy of the Earth fleets far above the planet. Admiral Kalen Rise stood on the bridge of the flagship, Eternal Dawn. He studied the Xyrix formation through a series of holographic displays. His fleet had already demonstrated incredible skill, but he knew the final assault would require more than firepower. It would require ingenuity. "Squadron leaders," he said, addressing the captains of his massive vessels, "the Xyrix believe they can overwhelm us with numbers. They underestimate human strategy. We strike from multiple angles simultaneously. Fighters create diversions, capital ships deliver precision strikes, and boarding teams disable critical systems. Every ship, every crew member has a role. Do not fail. Humanity is counting on you."
Ow.
From the colony, Lyra watched as the Earth fleet moved like a well-oiled machine. Fighters zipped between asteroids using cover to approach enemy vessels undetected. Capital ships moved in coordinated formations, their weapons firing in precise timing. It was not just a display of power, it was a display of human intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Kale couldn't help but smile. "They're incredible," he whispered. "Every move is calculated. Every attack is precise. They're unstoppable." The first phase of the final assault. Battle began with human fighters weaving through the Xyrix fleet like swarms of hornets. They struck at engines and shield generators, weakening the alien ships for the larger capital vessels. Plasma bolts collided in space, creating brilliant flashes of green and blue light against the dark backdrop of the stars. Commander Dane coordinated with the fleet. Sending updates from the colony, Kale marked the coordinates for the damaged Xyrix vessels. The fighters can hit them from multiple angles. Kale worked quickly, inputting the data into the Earth fleet's secure channel. The ships responded instantly. In moments, a series of coordinated attacks hit Xyrix dreadnoughts simultaneously, overwhelming their defenses. One massive vessel erupted in fire, drifting in space as its crew struggled to regain control. From the observation deck, Lyra and the colonists watched in awe. "They're winning," whispered a medic, her eyes wide. "I can't believe it. We might actually survive." Lyra nodded, her voice steady. "Not just survive. We are proving that humans are not easily defeated." A daring boarding operation mid the chaos, a group of human boarding teams prepared for a risky mission. Their target, the Xyrix flagship, the heart of the alien fleet. Commander Dane knew that if the flagship were disabled, the Xyrix would be forced to retreat. "Admiral Rias," Lyra said over the secure channel, "the boarding teams will need cover. Can the fleet hold them long enough?" Rise's calm voice responded, "They will have everything they need. The fleet's firepower will keep the flagship occupied while your teams strike from above. Timing is crucial. Make it count." Minutes later, small assault pods separated from the fleet, hurtling toward the massive Xyrix flagship. Explosions from the human fleet's attacks distracted the alien crews, giving the boarding teams the perfect window to enter. Inside the alien vessel, human soldiers moved with speed and precision. They avoided detection, using their training to navigate the alien corridors. Every step brought them closer to the central command hub, where critical systems could be disabled. Kale, monitoring from the colony, held his breath. "They can do this," he whispered. "They have to do this. The whole battle depends on it." Turning the tide on the flagship, General Thrix paced his command deck. "Our ships are taking damage," he growled. "The humans are more powerful than expected. They are adaptive. They think faster than we do." One of his officers spoke. "Sir, our formation is breaking. If we retreat, we lose the sector. But if we stay, we risk total destruction." Thrix's metallic eyes glowed with rage. "Then we fight to the last vessel. Do not let humans see fear." But the humans were already taking the initiative. The boarding teams reached the command hub and deployed devices to shut down the flagship's core systems. Explosions and sparks lit the corridors as the alien crew tried to resist. Within minutes, critical systems failed, engines sputtered, and the massive ship began to drift helplessly. Outside, the human fleet struck again. Capital ships unleashed a concentrated barrage, and the crippled flagship could no longer coordinate the Xyrix forces. Other dreadnoughts faltered, unsure how to respond to the humans' coordinated attacks. Back at the colony, Lyra and Kale cheered. "They did it," Lyra said, her voice full of relief. "The flagship is down. The tide has turned." The retreat of the Xerix, with their flagship disabled and their formation broken, the Xerix had no choice but to retreat. One by one, the remaining ships pulled back, some badly damaged, others barely functional. The Starfire Armada did not pursue recklessly. They maintained pressure while protecting the colony. Kale watched the sensors with awe. "They're retreating. They're really retreating." Lyra allowed herself a small smile. "Yes, humanity fought, and we won. But more importantly, we showed that we never abandon our own." The colony erupted in cheers. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians embraced one another. The skies were still dark with smoke and debris, but hope had returned. Humans had faced impossible odds and survived. The aftermath of battle was over, but the work was far from done. Colonists worked alongside Earth's fleet crews to repair damaged buildings and restore power. Medical teams treated the injured, and engineers restored communication systems. Kale walked through the colony, amazed at the resilience of the people. "We thought we were alone," he said to Lyra, "but we weren't. They came for us. They saved us." Lyra nodded. Earth never forgets its own. This battle isn't just a victory for Orion 9. It's a message to the galaxy. Humanity is strong. We are brave. And we never back down. Admiral Rise visited the colony shortly afterward. He greeted Commander Dane and Kale, praising their courage and leadership. "You held the colony," he said. "You kept hope alive. That courage made our victory possible. Humanity is strongest when we stand together." The colonists looked at the massive fleet overhead, their massive ships a symbol of Earth's reach and power. The Starfire Armada had arrived in the darkness of despair and turned it into light, a lasting lesson in the days that followed. The colony rebuilt. Children played among repaired structures, soldiers trained for future threats, and scientists studied the remnants of the Xerix fleet for technological insights. Lyra and Kale stood on a hill overlooking the colony. "We survived because humans came," Lyra said, "because we never gave up. This victory, it belongs to everyone here and everyone on Earth." Kale smiled. "The Xerix underestimated us. They thought we were weak, but they were wrong. Humans fight, we protect, and we survive no matter the odds." As the twin suns rose over Orion 9, casting golden light over the repaired colony, Lyra knew that humanity had sent a clear message to the galaxy. Humans might be scattered among the stars, but when their people were in danger, Earth's fiercest fleet would always arrive, and somewhere far across space, the Xerix would remember the courage, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit of humans. The galaxy had seen the strength of humanity, and no force, not even the Xerix, would soon forget it.